Okay, we start now. So today we will be seeing the chapter 4, which is of geography, which is agriculture. Okay, then I will open that which I have uploaded. Then I prepared one small summary kind of thing in the kind of a table for all the chapter, which I will share at the end after this one. Then we will cover the history, chapter 6 again. So you can view this one, right? Is it clear, right? Okay. So basically, agriculture. So what is agriculture? Agriculture refers to the practice of cultivating the land to grow crops. Means you are growing the crops by cultivating, and also it refers to rearing of animals like cattle, sheep, goats, pigs, horses, camels, chickens, ducks. This all comes under rearing of the cattle. So this is called the agriculture, which is the practice of cultivating the land and the rearing of animals. Okay, it is one of the oldest activities that has been practiced by man. It is this is happening from centuries, some hundreds of years. Okay, so what are the factors that basically influence your agriculture? There are basically like a few factors, like what kind of land it is, like it is fertile land, arable land. Is it easy to cultivate the crops, the growth the crops or not? This is an arable land. Then what kind of soil that particular land has, whether it is fertile soil or infertile soil, whether we can grow the crops there, then it is fertile soil, else it is infertile soil. And what are the different climatic conditions, the weather and the climate that are necessary in terms of like rainfall, moisture, humidity, the temperature. So these all factors affect the agriculture. So that's what it is said here. The activities associated with agriculture includes tilling the soil. You know the tilling, like they plow the land, like they make the soil like in a plain, suitable for cultivation. That is called like the tilling the soil. Then sowing the seeds, wherein they sow the seeds. They plant the seeds one by one in that soil which is tilled. And then they do the irrigation in the sense like applying adequate amount of water to the soil. So they till the soil, and then they sow the seeds, and then they do their irrigation, which means providing adequate amount of water to the soil. Apart from this, you also need to add manure means the food which is necessary for the crops to grow, or we can say that fertilizers, the manures and fertilizers. Adding manure and fertilizers, and harvesting. Once the crop grows, they cut it. Like for example, when the rice grows, they cut the grass, and then they do the harvesting, and finally they do the storage. So these all activities come under agriculture, like tilling, sowing, harvesting, irrigation, these all things, and storage. Okay. So for the growth and development of agriculture, these are the conditions that are required. Arable land. The land on which the crops can be grown is called arable land. What is meant by arable land? The land on which the crops can be grown. It's called arable land. So lands such as plains, river basins, deltas, in the deltas, tributaries where they meet at the base of the mountain, those are called the deltas. And the river basins, the plains, these are suitable for growing crops. Okay, so the land should be arable, means suitable for cultivation or growing crops. Next is soil. Soil supports the plants and it provides the nutrients and moisture to them. So, what does the soil do? It provides the nutrients and moisture to the crops or the plants. So, fertile soil is necessary for growing crops. Otherwise, large amounts of fertilizers have to be used to be added to the soil to make the soil fertile. Okay, if the soil is not fertile, you need to add manure and fertilizers to make it fertile. Only when the soil is fertile, then you can grow the crops. Okay, that is the fertile soil, because it supports the plant, It provides the nutrients and the moisture to the plants. And finally, we have like the favorable climatic conditions such as rainfall, the moisture, the temperature. These are all the factors that influence the growth or the what are the types of crops that you grow. So basically, if you are looking this agriculture, you need to know one diagram wherein before starting this one, you need to know this one. This is important. You know okay, maximize this one. Okay. You see this one you need to know first. Types of farming are subsistence farming, then extensive farming, then commercial farming. In subsistence farming, again you have intensive subsistence farming and then shifting farming. Okay. And then in the commercial, you have commercial grain farming, mixed farming, and plantations. So these are the types of farming. And coming to the crops, you have basically food crops and cash crops. The crops which we eat are called the food crops. The crops which we grow for for commercial purpose, for getting the money or high revenue, those things, those crops are called cash crops. So the food crops are like cereals, pulses, fruits, vegetables. These all comes under food crops. I will come to you, Liba, just a minute. And then this cash crops are like beverages, means the drinks like tea, coffee. Those are called the beverages. And then the horticulture, like the like we Goa kind of plants. Those are called the horticulture. Then you have the fiber and then the other plants. Yes, Liva, tell me.
No, no, I was going to ask you about horticulture, but now I understand it's about Goa crops.
Yeah, kind of Goa. We will see that one. We will come to that horticulture in a short while. But basically remove this. Sorry, remember this graph, because if you remember, you get the whole chapter of this one. Types of farming: subsistence, extensive, and commercial. Then you have the insistence and shifting farming. Then commercial, mixed, and plantations. In the food you have cereals, pulses, fruits, vegetables. And in cash crops you have beverages, horticulture, fiber, other thing basically which you grow for getting money, more money, commercial purpose. Those are called the horticultural crops. Okay. So where are we?
So,
We are, yeah.
are the cash crops edible?
Cash crops are edible. No, those are basically grown for getting money. Like for example, say you have the cotton, you have the jute, you have for example, the tea coffee also comes under cash crop, because you can grow those crops, because those comes under beverages. You can drink those ones. So tea, coffee, sugar cane, for example, sugar, you made the sugar from the sugar cane, and then you have cotton, jute. These all things comes under the cash crops basically. So some comes, some does not comes.
Oh,
Okay, so we are here basically. So subsistence farming, as we see the different kinds of farming: subsistence, and then you have the extensive, and then the commercial farming. So subsistence is what, this type of farming is practiced mainly to fulfill the needs of farmers and their families. So basically in India, this kind of thing is done. Basically they grow the crops. They have like a small areas of land which is scattered, and they grow the crops there. And then whatever they grow, like for example say rice or wheat or anything, okay, they grow and then they store them, that crop, for themselves, because they use that crop throughout the year. So that kind of farming which is called the subsistence. It is for the subsistence. This type of farming is practiced mainly to fulfill the needs of farmers and their families. Okay. A large number of farmers in India practice this kind of farming. So, what are the features of this one? The plots are small and scattered. Whatever the plot they use for growing the crops, those are small and scattered. they use the traditional tools. They don't have like advanced machinery, advanced technologies, all those things. Simple traditional tools like the sickle, the plow, those kind of things. Also for plowing the soil, for tilling the soil, they use the cattle. Simple methods, traditional tools. And it depends on rainfall. Whatever the crops they grow, they mainly depend on rainfall. If rainfall comes good, the crops comes good. If the temperature, weather, everything favors, then the crops comes good. Otherwise their crop may not come good. So it depends on rainfall, fertility of the soil, and the environmental conditions. Environmental conditions in terms of the temperature, rainfall, all those factors. So these are the features of the subsistence farming. Next, we go to the next page. Uh, oops. Maximize this one. We'll maximize to like say 75%. Oh, it's big. 50%. So I think this is visible, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So make it 75 then. 75 is big. We make somewhat small. And so minus. Oops. Okay, I think make it to 50% then. This is okay, I guess. So as the farmers are poor, they do not use the fertilizers. They don't have high yielding variety of seeds. Like they don't have good seeds also. Some seeds are high yielding variety of seeds. Like for example, say if you grow one seed, you may get like more number of high yield for that crop. So those are called high yielding seeds. They don't use high yielding seeds. They don't use the fertilizers, and the output of the crops is also not very high because most of the family, the father's family, farmer's family only, they will use it, and they don't produce that much wherein they can supply to the market. They can sell to the market and get the money. Not that much amount they will get, that much yield they will get. And the labor is basically the members of the farmer. So this kind of farming is called substances. As you can see in the diagram, you see the small scattered land. One person, he's plowing the land with his cattle, and whatever the crop he comes, he use for his own family purpose. Next, this subsistence farming is again of two types: intensive subsistence farming and shifting farming. What is intensive subsistence farming? This is the system of farming under which small farms are cultivated by large number of people. Small farm only, but large number of people are used for cultivation of that particular uh, intensive farming. Okay, since it requires abundant labor, means more labor. Abundant means more labor. It is practiced in the densely populated countries such as India, China, Bangladesh, Thailand. These are all countries are densely populated. So it is practiced there. So what are the features of it? You have the small farms are cultivated, and you have the abundant labor, huge labor. And you do like more than one crop is cultivated annually on the same field. For example, you have a small farm. You use the same farm for growing, like say one and two or more different kinds of plants. For example, say you can grow pulses or cereals. You can grow the sugar cane, like that, two or more crops at the same time. Okay. And manure, fertilizers, good quality seeds are used here. They use the fertilizers and good quality seeds. In India, it is practiced in the northern plains of India, North India, and coastal areas of South India. So with this, what they basically produce, they produce rice, wheat, the maize, pulses, and oil seeds. So these are the crops that they basically produce with the intensive subsistence farming. Next, you have the another kind of subsistence farming, which is called the shifting farming. So what is shifting farming? You see this diagram. So this is intensity small farming, where they use large number of people and to grow these crops, and they grow all these crops. Shifting farming is, you see this diagram. When you see, you will get some picture. What they will do, this is also called slash and burn method, because it's a type of agriculture practice wherein there is a patch of land is cleared, the trees are felled or cut, and the stumps are set on fire. All the trees are cut, and whatever that is there, those are set on fire. They fire, they set on fire. The ashes are mixed with the soil, and the crops like maize, yam, potatoes, cassava are grown. So then they then grow these crops after mixing the ashes with the soil. Okay, so we go to the next page. Okay, we'll maximize this one again to 50. Okay, next, what? The cleared patch is cultivated for few years until the fertility of the soil is reduced. Then once the land is cleared, once the trees are cut, and once they set on fire, after they mix the ashes with the soil, they use that same land and soil for cultivation for few years until the fertility of the soil is reduced. After doing, like say, a few years, like say 4 or 5 years, or maybe up to 10 years, the soil loses its fertility. When it loses its fertility, then they can no longer do the crop. They can no longer do the cultivation. The farmer then moves to a free piece of land, and the same process is repeated. Then he will do on another piece of land, and the same process whatever he has done before, like cutting the trees, setting them on fire, mixing the ashes with the soil, and then cultivation, is he repeats the same process on the new piece of land. Okay, so what is the problem with this one? It's a great menace to the environment. What is menace? Menace means a danger or harmful to the environment. Why? Because it accelerates the soil erosion. Your erosion of the soil erosion, it accelerates the soil erosion. It causes floods, and it basically, the burning of the stumps leads to air pollution. So if you can see from here, this has like different names in different countries. Like in Venezuela, it is called Conuco. In Vietnam, it is called Ray. In Brazil, it is called Roca. The shifting farming. It is known by different names in different countries, and in India, it is practiced in these states, and those have those names in those states. Okay, that is the what? That is the, which kind of thing it is? Shifting farming. Okay, shifting farming, subsistence
So,
farming, intensive subsistence, and shifting farming. Yeah, Liba.
is this actually good for the soil or bad for the soil?
Which one?
Shifting farming.
Bad. That's what he's told. No, see, this is a great menace to the environment. It accelerates soil erosion, causes floods, and it leads to air pollution also.
Then why do they burn and go?
Because you burn the trees, no, you get fire. It leads to air pollution. Okay, then you have extensive farming. This is a system of farming in which a small number of people work on large farm. As the name itself implies, small number of people on a large farm. So because the number of people is less and the area is very large, you need all these things like a heavy machinery, huge labor, and all these things. Farm size is huge. So these are all the you can say features of extensive farming. So you need to remember this system of farming in which small number of people work on large farm. So farm size are huge, machines are used because the farm size is very huge, and it is highly capital intensive. Means you need to invest more amount for producing this kind of extensive farming, and crop yield is high. Crop yield is high because the yield is high because you use a heavy machinery, and the farm size is so much big, and they use like good quality seeds, you get the yield high. So whatever the excess surplus is there, they sell it, they use it for sale. So this is called the extensive farming. Next you have the commercial farming. Okay, commercial farming. So crops are mainly grown for profit using advanced technologies in order to obtain higher productivity. So you grow the crops basically to get more profit and higher yield. Again, the degree of commercialization, it varies. Like say from how I can the degree of commercialization, it varies from region to region. For example, if you take rice, it is a commercial crop in Punjab. Commercial crop means what? They basically grow to get more money. Whatever that is done for the business purpose is called commercial. This is a commercial crop in Punjab and Haryana, but it is a subsistence in the Odisha. What is subsistence? Means the farmers they grow only for their family's purpose. So depending on the region, it varies whether it's a commercial or subsistence. So that is what we call as a degree of commercialization. And the main features of this farming are these things. Crops are grown mainly for sale, as from the name itself, commercial. And farm size is huge, and the capital is also large, and machine is used for all activities like sowing, harvesting, trashing in the sense like the cutting, all those things. Cutting, after cutting you trash because you need to remove the grains from the grass, so that is called the trashing. So they use like the kind of machineries for all of these things, so that is why it is called commercial farming. In commercial farming again you have different types: commercial grain farming, the plantations, and one more we'll see. Commercial grain farming means the commercial farming only, but basically they grow the kind of grains here. The grains are cultivated on a large scale. Usually a single crop is grown, for example wheat, or maybe say some rice. Only a single crop is grown, but it is cultivated on a large scale. And crops are grown for commercial purpose because the name itself implies commercial grain. It's grown for commercial purpose. It is practiced in areas where the population is sparse and the farms are large, where there is less population and a big size of farms. So that is why that is where the commercial grain farming. For example, if you take USA, they grow there corn and soya beans, and they don't grow in 1 or 2 hectares, they grow in some thousands of hundreds of hectares of land. And since they grow in that much big land, their production or yield is also so much high. So what they will do, whatever the crop or cultivation they got, the yield they got of that. Okay, 10 minutes are there, we'll try to cover this page and then we will join. I will tell you when to rejoin. Then they, whatever the yield they got, they sell to other countries because they get huge money in terms of foreign exchange. So that is mainly for commercial purpose. That's what is shown here. Like for example in North America, like these are the temperate regions of the world, and these are the crops that are grown. Okay, so we'll close this 4.2. Then we will close 4.2, 4.11 will keep, 4.1 will close. You can shall we see fourth one. Okay, so you can rejoin, and then we will complete up to some more 1 or 2 more pages, and then we will start with we will complete up to this one: mixed farming and plantation farming. And types of crops onwards we will take another class. Then We will start the history once again. You can rejoin the same link. Anything I do? Next one. And okay. एक
कौन है?
मिनट वो रहने दे कॉल बात तेरा नहीं ले मेरा रहने दे
रुको रुको
अरे वो वीडियो स्टॉप करेंगे 1 मिनट रुक